What's the best euphemism for telling people that they're stupid? You could hide your own Easter eggs. Unencumbered by the thought process. Easy. Now, don't let your brains go to your head. In Russian we have, intelligent thoughts have always followed him, but he was faster. My dad often refers to decisions being made, unhindered by any knowledge of the facts. At this point, you can only impress me. I think I saw this one here previously. You aren't the biggest idiot in the world, but you better hope they don't die. Now I know what Douglas Adams was talking about. A common mistake that people make when trying to design something completely foolproof is to underestimate the ingenuity of complete fools. In Greece we say, when it was raining brains, you had an umbrella. On a Canadian job site, "Ah Terry, having you around is like losing 3 good men." Lawyer to client who shared detailed attorney-client privilege strategy memorandum with a whole bunch of people, including an adverse party. Client: is there anything you can do to fix this? Attorney: no, you've pretty much waived the privilege and now they know everything. Client: is there any way to put a positive spin on this? Attorney: well, I suppose the judge might buy that this proves that you lack the mental capacity to form specific intent. He's so far behind he thinks he's first. Once heard someone say, well, he's about as sharp as a sock full of soup. You're the reason we have warning labels. LMAO. I had a teacher that would always say, keep them guessing. Don't open your mouth and prove them right. He is a modest man with much to be modest about. My teacher said I was as quick as a glacier. I can explain it again, if you'd like, but I can't understand for you. Useful as a chocolate teapot. They would be out of their depth in a parking lot puddle. I would agree with you, but then we would both be wrong. My grandpa told me a few times, son, you need lemons to make lemonade and you ain't got no lemons. I laugh every time. I like Letterkenny's. You're just spare parts, aren't ya, bud? I'm guessing you weren't burdened with an overabundance of schooling. Captain Malcolm Reynolds. Well, pardon me, ma'am, but what you don't know could fill a warehouse. Courtesy of Bart Simpson. Edit. The act of pure destruction is delivered. 224. What you don't know could fill a warehouse. YouTube. If your brains were dynamite, there wouldn't be enough to blow your hat off. In French we sometimes say, she doesn't have electricity at every floor. One of my personal favorites. They only got 2 brain cells and both of them are fighting for 3rd place. The wheel's spinning, but the hamster's dead. You could blow in their ear and they would say thanks for the refill. A little too much chlorine in your gene pool. It's impossible to underestimate you. One that my grandmother used to say was that someone had diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain. This thread is gonna be a rare insult generator, isn't it? Couldn't pour water out of a boot with instructions on the heel. In India, we call them tube light because it takes some time for them to switch on. Saw 2 co-workers going about a task in the worst way I could imagine. I said, I believe if there was a harder way to do that you two would find it. They didn't get it. You're 12 cans short of a 6-pack. Sharp as a marble. That one. Your train of thought is a replacement bus service, isn't it? Like Forrest Gump, but not as lucky. If you were half as smart as you think you are, you'd be twice as smart as you really are. If you ever had a clever thought, it died alone and afraid. Edit. Holy crap, I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. RIP. My inbox. You have an amazing grasp of the obvious. People who would forget to breathe if their bodies didn't do it for them. A village somewhere is missing their idiot. One of my all-time favorites is more foam than beer. Edit. Holy shit, I did not expect this to blow up. Thank you all, lol. Not the brightest crayon in the box. There are 2 Arabic ones that I abuse. Smartest of his siblings. When stupidity was distributed, he came back for seconds. I freaking love them. If they fell into a barrel of tits, they'd come up sucking their own thumb. Edit. 4 helpful awards. Thank you so much. You're hilarious. And thanks, everyone else. They couldn't find their own ass with both hands. You must have ironed your brain. You're a brick short of a sandwich. Or, are you professional idiot, or just a gifted amateur? In Poland we say, mdry inaczej. It means smart in a different way. They never open their mouths without subtracting from the sum of human knowledge. I like to say, that person is racing glaciers, or Dead turtles. As a foreman in my youth on construction sites, fellow workers would complain about something they did that got them hurt. I'd tell them that when you are dumb you got to be tough, and son, you are one tough bastard. If brains were leather, you couldn't make a saddle for a June bug. About as useful as an ashtray on a motorcycle. Useless as a flaccid strap-on. His train of thought is still boarding at the station. Edit. Yes, Calvin and Hobbes. Holy shit, this blew up. He needs to carry a plant to make up for the oxygen he's wasting. My AP Chem teacher would say we'd get thank you letters from kids at other schools. The AP exams are graded on a curve. That kid's going places. Not college, but places. When dealing with people that have a tech problem and it's clearly a user error, a friend of mine referred to it as a layer 8 problem. The classic network stack has 7 layers, and the last one, layer 7, is called the application layer. Therefore, by extension, layer 8 would be the user layer. So the next time your parents complain their phone is acting up, just tell them it's a layer 8 problem. The lights are on, but no one's in. Couldn't guess which way an elevator, lift, was going if they had 2 guesses. I wouldn't trust you to sit the right way on the toilet seat. From Rowan Atkinson Live. In my country we have an expression that when translated literally means, you burn coal. I don't know what your problem is, but I bet it's hard to pronounce. Room temperature IQ. That guy only gets basic cable. Who ties your shoes in the morning? Few sandwiches short of a picnic. Just because stupid is free doesn't mean you should abuse it. In Hindi we call people, dakan, which literally means a bottle cap, meaning empty at top. If your brain was a car, it would be in reverse. Here in Antwerp, Belgium we tend to say, the light is on but nobody's home. Or, put his brain in a bird and the bird flies backwards. Bless your heart is a common southern subtle slap. If you were tall as you are stupid, you could drink from the gutter roof's drainpipe. Tilda some person from Florence, probably. They lock up the bleach where you live, don't they? Sharp as a tennis ball. I don't want to fight you in a battle of wits. I never attack anyone unarmed. Henny young man. You are a mental pedestrian. Have you been eating the lead paint chips again? Safe distance from genius. Somewhere out there is a tree whose whole job is replacing the oxygen you waste. Find it and apologize. About as useful as tits on a bull. You have interesting opinions. He fell out of his family tree. Mo would sometimes get angry at Curly and he would say, every time you think you weaken the nation, it has worked its way into my daily sayings. Great one from an IATA post comment. I'll crosslink it later if I can find it. Not the biggest lint wad in the dryer. Edit clarification of where the comment was made. Child comment rather than the actual post, and adding link to the original post. Thick as 2 short planks, sharp as a spoon, and one of my favorites, he's as dumb as he is cabbage looking. Synaptically challenged. 3 legs short of a table. Couldn't even run a bath. From the train job, in Firefly. Lun. Hey, you gonna drink to the Alliance with me? 6 years ago today, the Alliance sent the browncoats runnin', pissing their pants. You know, your coat is kind of a brownish color. Mal, it was on sale. Lun, you didn't toast. You know, I'm thinking you one of them independence. Mal, and I'm thinking you weren't burdened with an overabundance of schooling. So why don't we just ignore each other? Till we go away. So dense he bends light. Your parents were siblings, right? I think we are unable to understand each other. Very lightheaded, you are. We can't all afford an education. There's an old saying in my hometown dialect, Modena, Italy, that says, the day when it'll be written in the newspapers that donkeys learned to fly, you'll need someone to throw food at you with a slingshot. Never fails to make me laugh. Your potential for improvement is boundless and completely untapped. I envy the people who don't know of your existence. A teacher in HS once said to a student, you're as subtle as a lead balloon. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. I don't have any crayons to explain it to you. The poor sod suffers from anal, cranial inversion. My mom always said, if you had another brain cell it'd be lonely. She's got a few kangaroos loose in the top paddock. Guess where I'm from? Your brain must be well rested. The potential energy only stays potential in this one. I bet your head floats easy in water, doesn't it? Try that one. My fab, it's impossible to underestimate you. If he had half a clue, he'd be on the ground playing with it. Considering your intelligence, what you said makes sense. Sounds like a compliment, but it really means is that based on how stupid the person is. The word salad coming out of their mouth makes sense, because there is no meaning behind it. Had a kid who was a new hire once, put a roll of plastic sideways in a wheelbarrow, rolled it up to a doorway, looked at it, and said, "It won't fit." Other supervisor looks at him, grabs the poly, turns it sideways, and throws it back in the wheelbarrow. Says, "He's all yours. He's on your crew." Ever thereafter, we would say, "It won't fit," every time somebody was doing something really stupid. My favorite quote from Chivalry is, "Are you lost in thought? It must be new territory." "He's a soup sandwich," is a recent gem I've heard. "If you had a brain, you'd be dangerous," was my dad's go-to. "I don't have the time, or the crayons to explain it to you." If he was any more simple, he'd need watering. It's not so much that you're not the sharpest knife in the drawer. It's more like you're a wooden spoon that somehow made its way into the knife drawer. He's blessedly unburdened with the complications of a university education. Laszlo speaking about Nander the Relentless. We must have differing views on reality. Strong like bull, dumb like sit. Rocket surgeon. Too ugly to be this dumb.